Okay, I'm Chris Savino with American Outdoor News, and today we have the NFL's leading scorer and four-time Super Bowl winner, Adam Vinatieri. Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I got to ask you, how do you sit in a hunting stand with all those Super Bowl rings without making noise?
I obviously don't wear them. I don't want to get them too dirty and bloody, but football's been a blessing for me for many, many years. And everybody always used to ask, what's the worst thing about football? And they always think it's, injuries or this or that. And I always tell them it's the same season during hunting season. So I don't get out in the woods as much during football. But now being retired from football after 24 years in the league, I'm getting a little bit more free time. Still involved with football, with coaching my sons and doing some of that stuff. But it was definitely a blessing. Allowed me the springs to go travel around and do some destination type hunting and stuff. But definitely enjoying these past couple falls of being out and watching the tree, the colors change on the trees, and watching the sun come up and down in a stand is a beautiful thing.
I think the best part of this season is watching the leaves on the ground turn.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I tell you, this year it's been a little hot one day, cold the next day. So I think we're going to get into some consistent weather, and that should hopefully keep them bucks moving around, and hopefully we'll get a good opportunity later this month.
Now, you grew up in South Dakota.
I did, yeah.
You must have had hunting season all year round.
We really did. My mom's side of the family were farmers from the eastern side of the state. So we did all the upland bird hunting, the pheasants, the ducks, the geese, all that stuff, and a little bit of deer hunting out there as well. But we lived in Rapid City, which is right on the Black Hills. So really good deer hunting, some antelope hunting. If you're a South Dakota resident, there's elk hunting as well. So being in South Dakota is, I'm not sure that there's a better state. I know there's probably states that maybe, hey, if you're looking to whitetail deer hunt, maybe you're thinking Iowa or Illinois or something. And if you're thinking elk hunting, you're thinking, Utah, Colorado, some of New Mexico. But for us being in South Dakota, we had the best of everything. You had deer hunting, elk hunting, bird hunting. There was a lot of great stuff out there. So I feel like I was very blessed being from South Dakota.
Did you have a favorite season?
For me and my family, opening weekend of pheasant season, which is like right about now, mid-November, the second, third week of October in South Dakota was amazing. All the relatives got together. My dad, my brothers, and myself would all go out there in the cornfields and shelter belts and sloughs and walk and work the dogs and really be. It seemed like every fall that was the one thing that I looked the most forward to. Kind of changed and doing a little bit more big game hunting now that I live in Indiana. But yeah, pheasant hunting with the family was definitely a treat because it seemed like there was 25 relatives that would get together. And my uncle, who was a farmer back there, he would cut the cornfields. They would cut them in strips that we could handle and stuff. So, I mean, I got spoiled rotten growing up as a kid, for sure.
Yeah, you must have had game all over the farm.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, you don't limit out every year, obviously, but there was definite years that we kind of had it figured out. And, depending on the season and depending on the weather would dictate our success a little bit. But there wasn't a single year or day that I regretted not, the time spent out there, getting to spend time with the family and siblings and the dogs and watching them work and all that stuff was amazing for sure.
Have you raised your kids around hunting as well? Or?
100%. Yeah. My two boys love it a lot. My daughter has dabbled in it. She's gone with me a couple of times. I don't think it's necessarily her favorite thing. I think getting up early in the morning when it's cold out, she's probably like, I'd rather be sleeping. But my two boys definitely love it. My wife enjoys going out in the woods, but she doesn't want to pull the trigger or sling an arrow or anything. She enjoys being out in the outdoors, but not necessarily killing anything.
Yeah, that's my son. He likes the outdoors, likes being out in the woods. He has no desire to shoot anything, and that's fine.
There you go. Yeah, no, I tell you, for me, it was always a during football season, it always was a great decompressor for me. The season's long and stressful, people around all the time. And for me to be able to get out into the woods and hear nothing other than birds waking up in the morning, and the owls in the evening, and turkeys gobbling in the spring and stuff. For me, just getting away from humanity and getting out in the wild was a thing that made me happy.
A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, for sure. If they have never done it, they don't understand it. They think, why do you want to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and sit out in the cold and do all that stuff? And it's hard to explain to them why until they've done it, and then they get it.
What traditions have you taken away from hunting? What stands out the most?
For me, like I said, it's just being around the people that I want to be around. My growing up as a kid and still being able to hunt with my dad and my brothers has been great. And now with my brother's kids and my kids, it's just a family tradition. And I think for me, it's less about hanging the animal on the wall and more about spending time with your family. People always, non-hunters always ask, why do you have these dead animals on your wall? And I go, well, every one of those animals is a memory, is a time in my life. I can tell you exactly where I was at, who I was with, what the weather was, whatever the situation may be. So for me, it's a snapshot in time of spending time with my family. And, a lot of times it's hard to get everybody together, to get families together and to go spend times. And for one reason or another, the hunting season was traditionally a time where we could all get together. And maybe it was, twice a year you get together as a family thing. And it seems like it was always kind of around hunting and getting together for that. So for me, that was the tradition for me.
Now, when you played ball, did the Patriots or the Colts, did they have anything to say about your hunting?
No, and that was always one thing that I always made sure, signing contracts, sometimes they want you to minimize risks, no skydiving, no driving race cars. And I always told them, hey, listen, I hunt, so I'll be carrying a gun in the field, and I like to go to lots of different destinations across the world. And that, I was told that's non-negotiable. I said, if you want me to play for your team, I'm going to do this stuff. I suppose more as I got older in my career, but I didn't do a lot of hunting when I was in Massachusetts, just because it's so populated that it was hard to find ground to go hunt. And if I could find it, it was a long ways out. But here in Indiana, this is a very hunter-friendly state. So it's really easy to meet people that will let you come hunt, or I've got a little bit of ground myself now. So they never gawked at it too much. I think I always had a couple of teammates on every team that I played on that we had a couple of kids from Iowa or Kansas or whatever that like to hunt and enjoy that. So they didn't balk at it too terribly much. And occasionally I got to take a teammate or two out and introduce hunting to them as well. Yeah,
that's always good to do. It's a bonus.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm actually an avid visitor to St. Elmo's in
there you go. Yeah. Get a good steak there, that's for sure.
Yeah, they definitely have good ones. Now, you have a reputation of being very cool under pressure. Now, when you're standing in your stands and you see the trophy of a lifetime standing in front of you broadside, are you still so cool and collected when you're drawing on that thing?
Well, I tell you, honestly, if you ever lose the excitement of your heart racing out of your chest and you getting a little jittery and stuff, it's the time to stop hunting. Because for me, I don't care if it's the buck of a lifetime or whatever the situation may be. I still get that excitement to be able to calm your nerves down and to make a good, to make sure that, if you're using your bow, you keep the pin on the animal. There's absolutely times where I know I got pretty excited, and I can't lie, I've never made perfect shots all the time, by no means.
But he does.
But I can keep it under control for the most part. I've always had buddies that I'd laugh. I'm like, thank God you wear a harness. You're going to fall out of the tree. You're shaking so much. But I was never quite that bad. But I do think, obviously, if if that buck comes down the trail and you know he's a shooter, my heart starts jumping out of my chest too. But thankfully, 99% of the time, I can keep my nerves under control and make a good shot. So yeah, that's part of hunting. I think that's why we do it. Is for that excitement and that the joy of doing that.
Now you've traveled all over the world, Africa, Alaska, the Arctic. Where is your favorite place?
I love Africa. I've been there a lot of times. It's really a gentleman's hunt for the most part. I mean, obviously, most of the times, unless you're doing some real remote stuff, which I'm going to go to Cameroon into the rainforest and chase some bongos here in a year from now. So that is less comfortable and more roughing it. But for the most part, when you do some of the lodges in Africa, it's very 5-star-ish. You get to sleep in a comfortable bed. They feed the crap out of you. There's tons of game going around. The Arctic, we're sleeping in tents around grizzly bears and polar bears and stuff like that. It's less comfortable, but if you want to go shoot a muskox or a polar bear, you got to go where they live. So that's part of the deal. So for me, it's less about being comfortable and more about seeing the terrain. Alaska is beautiful. I absolutely love Alaska, the Yukon, stuff like that. So for me, I don't know if I have a favorite. A lot of my friends are like, man, I'd rather whitetail deer hunt than anything on the planet. And I'm like, I agree. I love whitetail deer hunting, but I love to sheep hunt. And as long as I'm still healthy and climb them mountains, I'm going to keep doing that until my knees give out. So for me, it's really about just experiencing a new place in the world and seeing new culture. I haven't hunted New Zealand or Australia and stuff yet, but I've visited out there and I'm looking forward to doing that too. So I don't necessarily have a favorite. I know going into the Arctic is not for the faint of heart. If you're not willing to be in extremely cold conditions and being a little uncomfortable, you probably shouldn't do that hunt. And I'm thinking the same thing going into the rainforest in a year from now. It's going to be hot. There's going to be a million bugs. It's probably not great sleeping conditions and stuff like that. But if you want to do it, if you want to be and experience that, you have to deal with a little bit of that. And I think that part scares some people away too. If you want to have a comfortable, fun hunt that you get to shoot a lot of animals, go to South Africa. That's a easy, fairly easy to get in and out, fairly easy to bring guns in and out. You're going to have a great time, but if you want to shoot a bighorn sheep, it's not in Africa. You got to go where you want to go. So,
have you taken the Big Five in Africa?
I have not shot an elephant yet, and I went leopard hunting this last year, and unfortunately in Namibia, and which is one of the driest countries south of the Sahara Desert. And unfortunately, it rained 11 of the 14 days we were there.
Wow.
Leopards don't like rain, and I came home without getting one, so I've got to do that one again. But it's still a cool experience watching baiting, putting the trees in the baits and watching all of the. It was still pretty cool. But so those two I'm still waiting on. But hopefully by the time I'm dead and gone, I will have gotten those plus a handful of others as well.
So right now it's New Zealand and Australia on your bucket list.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, I'm going to Cameroon for those hunts. I was potentially going to Russia to do some sheep hunting. Put that one on hold, obviously, now for God knows how long. But a lot of the Middle East stuff, some of the stand countries, to go Marco Polo and some of the big sheep hunting. I'll eventually get to that, hopefully. But I'm going up to British Columbia on a moose hunt this next year, and so yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm never against Midwest hunting. South Dakota and Indiana and doing all the stuff here in the United States. I absolutely love it, but I feel like I need to hit some of the big stuff while I'm still young enough to do the travel. Yeah,
well, your legs are still young enough to get you up the mountain.
That's right. The mountain hunting, they always say do that while you can, because when you're 65, 70 and you're a little bit beyond your prime, it gets much, much more difficult. So I kind of want to do the hard things first and then maybe sink back into some of the easier stuff when I get a little older.
So Record Breaking Ranch, that was originally your family getaway.
Well, I actually bought the ranch about 5 years ago. I started it thinking when I was getting close to the end of my football career, I wanted to have a ranch where this day and age, it's hard to find public ground. It's hard for people to be able to invest a lot of time putting in food plots, hanging stands, doing all of that stuff. So for me, I bought a ranch in Missouri. We high fenced it. I've got a big, beautiful 10,000 square foot lodge there.
Wow.
We've got beautiful, gigantic deer, elk, lots of different exotics. We have some aoudads, some sheep running around. It's really a 5-star place. When I go to Africa, it's kind of Africa in the United States in the sense of you sleep in a beautiful lodge. We've got our chefs are second to none. I mean, they do a great job. I've never had a single complaint. The only complaint that people usually give is, I've gained 10 pounds since I've been here because the food's so good. So our guides are great. We put them on big deer and elk and all kinds of stuff. And it's really, it's turnkey. So it's for the client that maybe the businessman that doesn't have a lot of time to spend in the woods, doesn't have a lot of time to put in food plots and hang stands, maybe doesn't have any, private ground. So they can come out to us, spend 3 or 4 days, have a hunt of a lifetime, have a great, great time. And, the guys are caping the animals out and we'll send them to the tack. I mean, it's turnkey 5-star for people that want to come and do it. And like I said, it's in Midwest Missouri. It's easy to get to. We're an hour and 15 minutes from St. Louis. So it's really easy to get there. Anybody that wants to experience something like that, go on to the recordbreakingranch.com and check it out. It's second to none.
You gonna do my laundry like they do in Africa also?
You know what? Usually on a 3-day hunt, people don't ask for that, but yes, absolutely. We definitely can.
Now, what is it like being an outfitter as opposed to being on the other side all this time?
I enjoy it. It's fun for me because it's not, I guess the way I look at it is guiding there is a lot like taking my kids out. It's my sons when they were growing up. I don't necessarily have to pull the trigger or sling the arrow myself. I'm right there with them, experiencing it, helping them score and judge the animal and kind of getting them. So I get to experience their excitement, even though I'm sitting right next to them. So for me, I really, really enjoy it. Everybody has great stories and we have a lot of repeat customers. Most of the people that can't come the first time are booking for the next year right away because they enjoyed it so much. So for me, that tells me that we're doing a good job and people enjoy coming back. So I enjoy it. And then obviously we talk a lot of football and
Sure.
people ask a lot about, playing in the NFL and experiences and stuff like that. So we've got a couple good stories that people like to hear about that too at times.
Well, I know from guiding some hunts myself, people are nuts.
They have fun.
What's the craziest thing that's happened when you're guiding on your ranch?
I think I don't know if it's crazy, but we have, I'll say, some bloodthirsty clients is a good way of saying it. One of our best clients came in and he wanted to kill a big elk, and he's a guy that comes back once or twice a year, every year, and he can't sit without killing something. But anyway, my lead guide took him out. He wanted to shoot an elk, and it was right at the beginning of the bugle season. So my guide bugles in this beautiful bull elk, and he's a bow hunter, and so he walks out into the field. He makes a beautiful shot and shoots him right in the right spot. He bucks up, takes off running, goes down into the ravine, and my guide Eric continues a cow call like a lot of times you do just to keep him calm, whatever. Well, sure enough, that bull wasn't by himself. He was with another bull. And then the second bull walks out, and Jason ends up pulling an arrow, re-knocking an arrow, shoots the next bull, whack. And Eric goes, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That's the second bull. And he goes, yeah, I know. You got any more? So I don't know if that's crazy or not, but he wanted to shoot every single elk we had on our ranch. So
That's a perfect client.
Jason. He is a psychopath in a good way when it comes to wanting to shoot stuff. So he's been back several times a year, every year. I mean, my goodness, he has a good time when he's here. But those are the clients. We love those guys because we enjoy it as much as they do, I think.
Yeah. definitely. Now, I got some quick questions here. I'm going to ask you one or the other. Just give me the first thing that pops in your head. Bow or crossbow?
Bow.
Bow or rifle?
Bow again.
Mechanical or fixed blade?
Mechanical. I know Africa, they always say we want fixed blade all the time, but I've had great experience with mechanical ones. I've never had a failure. They've always done a good job. I think the technology at this point is so good. Now, if you're shooting a Cape Buffalo in Africa, you have a two blade, fixed blade, heavy thing. But for North America, Midwest, deer, elk, mechanical, I like it. I do. That's my thing.
Favorite game animal?
I better say whitetail, but I love elk hunting. Elk hunting, it probably elk, probably.
Parcells or Belichick?
Ooh, you're gonna get me in trouble on this one. Bill Parcells is my favorite all-time football coach. I'm sorry, Bill Belichick is my favorite all-time football coach. Now, Bill Parcells, I learned a lot from. He was my coach as a rookie. I have to give him all the love in the world because he was the deciding factor of bringing me to the team and keeping me on the team. So he's got a definite special place in my heart. But Bill Belichick, I don't think that there is a better football coach, X's and O's, than he is. So I'm going to say Bill Belichick #1, but that is absolutely no slight on Bill Parcells or Tony Dungy or all the great coaches that I've had along the way.
All right, here's last question. 2002, playing the Raiders, blinding snowstorm. Pats came storming back from a 10-point deficit, 27 seconds left on the clock. Are you thinking, please don't let me be Scott Norwood?
Well, I tell you what, it was, I'm sitting there watching the whole, was it a tuck? Was it a fumble? All that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself as I watched Woodson go around the corner and strip the ball out of Brady's hand, I'm like, holy crap, the season's over. Like, we just lost. And then all of a sudden, hey, it plays under review. And then it went from crap, we have to clean out our lockers and go home tomorrow, not make it, to, oh my God, this is coming down to you. You got to kick a 45-yard field goal, the most difficult kick you've had to kick in your entire life. And oh, by the way, if you don't make it, you lose. So, I'm pretty sure when we talked about before, that buck walks out and your heart's pounding and your palms are sweaty. I had that same feeling in this situation, and how I made that kick, I'm not sure. I still go back and look at it and just wonder, like, oh my gosh, that was incredible that I didn't fall on the ground and kick the ball into the lineman's butt, that it actually got above the line of scrimmage and it went 45 yards in a driving snowstorm. Yeah, that's definitely the kick that I'm the most proud of over my entire career. But I don't know how we kick that 100 times and make it 3 times, 5 times. I don't know, but I made the one when I had to, and that's all that mattered. The rest was history, I guess. We ended up winning the Super Bowl a couple weeks after that, which was pretty awesome.
That has to be one of my all-time favorite games, aside from the Giants beating the Pats in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I wasn't on that team at that when I was with the Colts at that point. So I watched it intently. He obviously had a bunch of friends in the Pats still, wanted them to win. But I was a bystander in that game.
You've had an amazing career. It's 24 years. How do you do 24 years?
Well, honestly, it's a whole lot of preparation and hard work, and then probably quite a bit of luck as well, in the sense that you stay healthy and I learned early in my career. I had really great teammates, Willie McGinnis and Troy Brown and Teddy Bruschi, and some of those guys that played for the Patriots early. We learned how to keep our bodies in shape, and they brought in the physical therapist and the massage therapist. And they told early, they're like, listen, you're young. You don't need a lot of work, but you should think about taking care of your body, because your body is your tool. So eat right, make sure you're in the training room, do all the little things that keep you healthy, because if you get a little bit, this feels off, and then it doesn't take long for that little thing to become a big thing. So I think I learned really early in my career to try to take care of my body the best I could, to make sure you ate right, to make sure you get enough sleep. You're not out screwing around at the bar chasing women. You're home getting the right amount of rest and all that stuff so you can perform on the field. So thankfully for me, I learned that early in my career that I didn't want to be a guy that played 2 years and was gone, or 3 years like most people. And then I guess, once I figured that out and kind of maintained that formula for success. But even with that, don't be afraid to be in the training room. Being in the training room isn't just for injured guys. It's to make sure that you stay healthy and you can do everything right. And I think one of the greatest things in my longevity is I was able to help some of the younger guys along too, to learn out how to be a pro. You know what I mean? How to take care of your body, how to do the right stuff, how to say no to the things that you shouldn't be doing. And I think hopefully I've helped some of the other guys keep their longevity as well. So for me, and then it's a lot to do with luck. I've had 6 surgeries throughout my career, but nothing that put me off the field until the last one in 2019. My knee surgery I couldn't come back from. And that's probably also because I was 46, 47 years old, and bodies don't heal quite the same way at that point. No. But ultimately, all in all, like I said, I was very, very blessed to be around the right people at the right time to help me do the right stuff. And I have to probably credit my wife. I met her early in my career, and she bought into all of the nutrition and the sleep and all that stuff. So she made it easier for me to be a pro. So
it kept you in check is what you're really saying.
Right. She's a big reason for my success. That's for sure.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. This has been great. And
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Where can we find you on social media and Record Breaking Ranch? Where can we find all of that?
Well, very, very easy. Obviously, I'm on Twitter and Instagram on my personal Adam Vinatieri. And then the Record Breaking Ranch has, the easiest way, if anybody wants to check into it, book a hunt, any of that stuff, easiest way is just go onto the recordbreakingranch.com, and you'll find it. It's in Fulton, Missouri. You'll pop up. You'll see big deer. You'll know you're on the right spot. There's all the information's on there on how to book a hunt, on contact information and all that stuff. And we also have an Instagram and Twitter account as well for recordbreakingranch.com. So very easy to find us, get a hold of us. And hopefully there's lots of people that see this and say, man, I gotta go check out his ranch and go hunting with him. So if you do, come on. We'd love to have you.
And they do that. We appreciate it.
There you go.
Thanks again.
My pleasure.